This quick video is to help you with assignment 2. We have all of these pieces of furniture. Technically, they might be called fixtures for like this, or appliances for the stove, depending on who creates the layer. So I'm just going to call it all furniture. All right. So the first thing you want to do is create your layers. And I'm going to start to let you do some of this on your own since we did it in the first and third, let's say, assignment. We can go to layer properties, pick the new layer icon, and create these two layers called dim text for the dimensions of the text and furniture. And then change the color to whatever you'd like. Make sure you keep all of these on in yellow and the little plotters that are white so that they don't have like a little red circle inside of them, because see, that would be like not plotting it. You don't want that plotted. So highlight the furniture layer, change the line weight to 0.60, double click in front of the furniture to set that one current and close out of there. I did that quick because I'd like you to start being able to do that on your own. If you drop this list down, you'll see that you have dim text and furniture there. So the furniture layer is current because I want to draw on it. And remember, we're going to need to type in units, all one word, UNITS, enter. And then change this to architectural. If we can convert it all to inches and do it that way, but why not use the feet? Go ahead and pick OK. Now, I'm going to roll my mouse back a little, or at least zoom up a little, so that that little XY is in the bottom left corner. I was going to start with the tub, but I think because I'm in this corner here, I'm going to start with this stove. So I'm going to start the line command, click on this line icon, and I'm going to click a point about right here for the bottom left corner of that stove. I'm going to pull my mouse over to the right. Don't click, type in 2'6" and enter. See how long that is? So you can zoom up using the wheel of the mouse or these navigation controls over here. You can hold the wheel down and move your mouse to pan down. I would like to show you. I'll draw this first and then I'll show you. So pull your mouse straight up and type in 2'2" enter. Then straight to the left 2'6" enter. And then we can type in C for close, or we can pick the close in the command line there, right click and pick close, a lot of different things. I'm just going to type in C and enter, and there it is. Now, I did want to tell you, in case you have a laptop that where you don't have the wheel on the mouse there, you can use these navigation tools over here. One of them is called the full navigation wheel. You can click right on that and you get this little wheel. And then because you don't have a mouse with a wheel on it, you can hold your left mouse button down on zoom, the word zoom, and zoom in and out. It's more about moving up and down. And then there's pan. You can hold your left mouse button there and pan. I wouldn't use orbit because it's going to bring you into 3D. And you want to make sure that this up here at the top left says top, and this right here on the view cube says top. I'm going to click on this little X right there to X out of that navigational wheel. All right, so looking at this detail, there's a lot of numbers here. There's a lot of like offsets that we're going to be working with. Maybe I'll go a little bit closer. Yeah, there it is. So we have 2 inches. If you follow the extension lines and the arrows, we have 2 inches from the top. Remember, we don't have to type in the inches. I just realized something here, that this dimension is a little bit confusing. I'll have to fix that because it should be 7 inches from the bottom and 11 inches between the circles. So this arrow right here is for the 2 inches. So this happens in drawing sometimes. It gets a little bit too many arrows, right? So we're going to offset from the top 2 inches and from the bottom 7 and then 11. So let's get practice with the offset. Start the offset command up there on the top left. And then with the offset command, look at your command line. It's asking you to type in the distance first. You're not clicking on anything. So start the offset command, type in 2 and enter. Pick the top line as your object and then pull your mouse down and click. Now you're still in the offset command, so you can click on the bottom line, pull your mouse up and type in 7 and enter. Then click on that new line, pull your mouse up and type in 11 and enter. And now you have all of your horizontal lines. Well, since we're still in the offset command, we have 7 from the left, and then we have 1'4" between these oven circles. And so I can click on this line on the left, pull your mouse to the right and type in 7 and enter. Then click on that new line pull your mouse to the right and type in 1'4", enter. I also noticed that there are no dimensions for the circle, so I'll go ahead and grab that as well. Okay, don't forget now to save the file. So you have to go up here and pick save and put it in your folder, put it in a folder like on your OneDrive or somewhere where you know you can save it. And you can call it assignment 2. If you want to just put in the word furniture afterwards, then you'll know that we have a chair or we have some furniture, and then we have a floor plan. Those are the 3 assignments that we worked on so far. So I did find out that these burners on the stove are 7 inches for the smaller one. Randomly choosing that, you'd have to look that up if you wanted to be specific for whatever stove you use. And then 7 and 9 inch diameter here. So I'm going to go to circle center diameter, and I'm going to click on this intersection right here, and I'm going to type in 7 and enter. That's going to give me a diameter of 7. And because I already did that one, I'm going to go ahead and do this one. So you can't right click to repeat this one, or else it'll go back to radius. So if I did that, if I right clicked and went to repeat circle, you see how when I click for a center point, it brings me to radius. So you want to be careful there, because then you'd have to click on diameter, or if you just drew that circle, it's going to remember how big it is, and then I can press enter. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that one so you can see me from the beginning. I can go to circle center diameter, click on the intersection of these 2 lines, and then look at your command line. It already says 7 inches, so just press enter. Now circle center diameter, click here and type in 9 and enter. Circle center diameter, click here and type in 9 and enter, or press enter because you just drew that circle. Okay, so this is our object. You can click on all of these little lines that are extra. You can click in space and pull your mouse across these lines to select more than one at a time. So now you have all of them selected. You can pick the erase key on up there in the ribbon. You can right click and pick erase, or you can pick delete on the keyboard. Any of those. And there's your stove. Okay, let's take a look at this tub. I'm going to kind of navigate over there, zooming and panning to get to a point where I can draw it up here. We've got a box that's 5 foot by 2 foot 8, and I really need to put in here that this is 4 inches typical, so that you can have 4 inches all the way around. And by doing that, you can see that if this is 4 inches, this radius is 1 foot. That means that everywhere on this radius is 1 foot. So if you add up the 1 foot and the 4 inches, you'll know that the center of the circle is 1 foot 4 inches over. So let's get started. We'll start the line command, and somewhere up here to give me enough room, I'm going to click a point, pull your mouse to the right, type in 5' and enter. Pull your mouse straight up, type in 2'8 and enter, then over, 5' enter, and then type in C for close. There's the beginning of the tub. Now we have a 4 inch offset, so I'll go ahead and start the offset command. I'll type in 4 and enter. I'll pick the top line and pick down. This line over here, pick to the left, the bottom line up, and the left to the right. And now I've got my 4 offsets right there. Okay, so I need one more offset of 1 foot. I could just go 1 foot from this edge over. So I'll go ahead and click on this line at the left side, the one that I offset, pull my mouse to the right and type in 1' enter. So now I have all of that in place, and I'm ready to potentially draw my circle with a radius of 1 foot. I'll go up to circle center radius, and this is where you can click on the midpoint of this line. So you want to come back down here and make sure we were working with object snaps here. Down at the bottom, there's a little arrow next to this object snap icon. Make sure that this little box with a square, a big square and a little square in it is blue, so it's on. But we do want to have the midpoint checked right there. With the midpoint checked, when I go to circle center radius, I can click on the little triangle, which represents midpoint right there. And then I can type in 1' and enter. Now there are a lot of different ways I can draw that circle. If I go under circle, you can see you've got like 3 points and 2 points. So we knew 2 points, right? The middle of the midpoint of that line and the midpoint of that line. We even knew 3 points if we wanted to go there. So there are a lot of different ways of drawing this. I do need to note and go check the radius of this fillet right here so that we can keep working. I do have that file open. And so I'll just kind of double click on it, take a look at right here. The radius is, when you double click on a object, you can get this little dialog box that tells you that this is a radius of 2, and I'll make sure that that's on the drawing. All right, let's go back here. Okay, so at this point, let's create those fillets. We did that in the first assignment with the chair. The fillet command is up here underneath that little scissor icon right there. So we'll go ahead and click on fillet. We have more than one, so when we start the fillet command, we're going to go down into the command line and pick on multiple, and then pick radius. And now it says in your command line, this is your, read your command line. That's your dialog with AutoCAD. It says specify fillet radius. We just said that was 2, so type in 2 and enter. Now make sure you click on the part of the line that you want to keep. So I'm going to click here because I want to keep that part, and here. See, there's your fillet. Then I'll click on here and here, and I've got that done. Great. So the last part here is to trim what we don't want. And when you're done with the command, most of the time when you start another command, it cancels out of the first one. But, you might want to right click and pick enter or escape to get back to the command line saying type of command, which is like back to nothing. I know that when I click on trim, it's going to cancel out the last command. So eventually you'll pick up those things. So go ahead and click on the trim command now and just click out all these things because it actually trims and erases all these things. You can even draw like a little fence around it. And some of these lines I probably could have erased because but with the trim command, you can erase it too. All right, that's it. Right click and enter, and you've got your tab. All right, so we have this couch that's over here, and we want to give us enough room to create the other ones. It's 5 feet by 2 foot 10. So let's start the line command. Click a point over here someplace. Pull your mouse to the right. Type in 5 apostrophe enter. Pull your mouse up to apostrophe 10 and enter. And then to the left. Now, guys, I'm going to show you something here. I love this kind of tracking. We did this, I think, on the floor plan. When you're drawing this line that's 5 feet across, you can type in 5 apostrophe, or you can use what's called tracking. If I just rest my pointer down here and pull my mouse away from it, you see how I left a little green little plus sign there, and I'm going to follow this tracking vector, the green one, until I get to viewing 2 different tracking vectors. That's where the 2 are going to intersect. So I don't have to type in 5 apostrophe. I can just like track over there and then click. All right, and then you can right click and pick close, trying to give you a little bit of variety. We do have 6-inch offset all the way around the top and the left sides. There's a 6 inches there. So we'll start the offset command, type in 6 and enter. Pick the top line and pick below it, the left line to the right line to the left. Hope this is getting a little bit easier for you. We do have one more offset. If you look at this, if this is 4 feet across, then this middle line must be then 2 feet. Right, might as well grab that since we're doing the offsets. I'm going to click on this line, this new line on the left, pull your mouse to the right and type in 2 apostrophe enter. There it is. Okay, so now we want to create this fillet, just like we did there. It's 1 foot 3. So we have 2 of them, the 2 corners. So start the fillet command. Now you can click on multiple and radius, or if you like to type in things, you can start the fillet command and type in M and enter, and R and enter, and it brings you to the same place. It says specify fillet radius. You type in 1 apostrophe 3 and enter. You pick the top line and then pick the line over here. There's your radius. And the top line and the line over here for your other radius. Now, I'm going to escape out of this because instead of knowing what the radius is here, we're going to offset it. We already know it's 6 inches, so you can actually offset an arc, and it'll automatically adjust to the right radius. So start the offset command, type in 6 and enter. Pick that outside arc and then pick inside right there. Pick the outside arc on the left side and pick inside right there. Now I've got my arc, I've got my lines, I just need to trim everything. So I'm going to start the trim command and just kind of like, well, sometimes instead of using trim, let me go out of this and show you. You can click here and use these little grips. So if you click on this line and you click inside the blue box at the end, you can kind of stretch that back. You see how I'm clicking on this? and I'm clicking inside the little box and letting go and bringing my mouse back, and I'm kind of like stretching the line back. Just, you can use trim if you like trim. You're going to find out that there are a lot of different ways of doing things. And if you like the trim command, just trim it all out to be really clean, or you can stretch those lines back and now you have your couch. Okay, so we have a chair right here. Again, we have some offsets. We have a box that's a square that's 2 foot by 2 foot, 2 foot 6, 2 foot 6. So start the line command, click a point over here someplace, pull your mouse to the right, type in 2'6, and go up 2'6 and go over. Now, like I said, you can go over 2'6, or you can rest your pointer down here at this corner, pull your mouse up and click, and then right click and close. That looks like I didn't. Now, if something doesn't look right and you want to find out like how big is that, you can double click on it and it says 2'6. Let's double click on this one. It'll say varies because I didn't use my escape key to get out of that. Double click on this one. 2 feet. So I did that one wrong, but this might be a good time to introduce something to you. You probably drew it right, so you just leave it right. You leave it at 2'6 by 2'6. But there is a command that we'll be using later on called stretch. I need this to be over 6 inches. You might not have to do this because maybe you drew yours 2'6 by 2'6, but I drew mine with 2 feet, so this line has to go over 6 inches. Now I can move it; they're all different things, but I love the stretch command. It's up here in the modify panel. Just watch me do it here. I mean, you can practice if you want, but we'll be using it later on. I'm going to start the stretch command, and you have to create a box from right to left of the objects you want to move that are inside the box and the ones you want to stretch. So I'm going to click out here in space and pull my mouse across half of this and click right here to go across those objects and then enter. I'm going to click in space anywhere, pull my mouse to the right. Look at that. It's stretching. If I go like this, you see how that's stretching? It's really stretching, but I'm going straight to the right. I'll type in 6 and enter because I needed to make that a little bit bigger. Now it looks like a square. Anyways, thought I'd show you that, but you don't need to use it. Now there's an offset of 4 inches, so start the offset command, type in 4 and enter. And I'm going to click here and here and here and here. Now for this one, if you think about it, it's a radius of 1'3". When you have a radius of 1'3" from this center, that means that all of these links are 1'3" from this little square. That means it's 1'3" from the top. So instead of doing the fillet, which is a total choice, let's draw a circle. So we're going to, with the offset command, we're going to click on the top line since we were already in the offset command, pull our mouse down and type in 1'3" and enter. So we can draw the circle. Yeah. So if you want to start the offset command and type in 1'3" and enter, and then pick the top line and pick down, you can. Now this is a circle with a radius, so circle center radius. I'm clicking the midpoint right there. And again, I could just pull my mouse up right there and click the midpoint. There's my circle. Instead of doing the offset now, because I could, I'm going to trim everything. When you start to draw, you're going to find out, well, why didn't I just do that? Why did I do it that way? That kind of thing. So I'm just trimming out some of this. You can kind of draw a little fence around it. So many different ways of doing this. And now I don't even need this. No, right? Just like that. Oh, there is something else I should show you here. I can do an offset of 4 right here, and I have my arc. But I do want to show you that if you use the fillet command with 2 parallel lines, it'll automatically create an arc. So I'll show you that. Start the fillet command, and you don't even have to do anything. You just click on these 2 lines. You see how it automatically creates the fillet? It's kind of cool to know these little inside things. Like you could have done an offset of 4. You could have figured out how big that radius is. But yeah, there it is. All right, let's take a look at this toilet. There are some dimensions here, things missing, just really the little fillets and the fact that you can draw an ellipse. So let's take a look. We'll put it here someplace. We know that the boxes are, well, the top one is 1'8" by 9 inches. And then we have the fillets. I'll take a look at what those are. If you already drew it, to make it look like that, it's okay. If your fillet is a little different than mine, you know what a toilet looks like, right? So it's just the practice of it. And then this one, we could really create a box um, for it, or like find the midpoint of it. We know that it's 2'4" from the back of the toilet to the front, and we know that it's 1'5" up from that. So then we can take a look at the ellipse as we're working with it. All right, so let's first draw the back of it, the toilet there. So this is a toilet looking down at it, also called a water closet. If you're looking at construction drawings, prints, that's a WC is for water closet, which is actually a toilet. All right, so we'll start the line command somewhere up here. We're going to click a point, pull your mouse to the right, type in 1'8" and enter. Down 9 and enter, and then to the left 1'8" and enter, and then type in C for close and enter, or right click and pick close. There's our our box. Now what we could really do is, why not draw, and you'll do this, you'll start to think, well, what if I do this, right? Instead of creating an offset from this line, what if we draw a line from the midpoint of this back of the toilet down 2'4"? Then I would have here the front part of the ellipse. So we'll start the line command and pick the midpoint of the back of the toilet, pull your mouse down and type in 2'4" and enter. Now I've got my beginning of my ellipse. Okay, so you can draw it however you'd like, but I know that there are a lot of different ways of drawing this ellipse, just like the circle and the arcs. It's up in the draw panel. There's a little icon right here for ellipse. You can click on the arrow next to it, right to the right of arc, that middle one. And then if you go in the drop down here and just rest your pointer on axis end, you can look at the little drawing and see that you're picking your first point at one end, your second point at the other end, and then establishing what the radius or what the width of it is. So let's go ahead and click on this axis end ellipse. So I'm going to click the end of this line right there, and I'm just going to pull my mouse straight up. Don't click. Type in 1'5" and enter. You see how that gives me the top of it? Now it's asking me for the distance to the axis. That means from the center to the, like a radius to the end of that side. And since the whole thing is 1 foot, we're just going to type in 6 for 6 inches and enter. And there's our ellipse. If you drew it a different way, if you just kind of like created a box and drew it, a different way, I'm good with that. It's all about practice. So let's go back over here and I'll take a look and I'll make sure it's on the hard copy at what the radius is. I double click, the radius is still 2 on the one that I already drew. So these are fillet radiuses of 2. So I'll go up here to the fillet command and I have multiple. So I'll click on multiple, I'll click on radius, I'll type in 2 and enter. I'm going to click the top line and the side line and the bottom one and this left side and the left side and the top. Now I have all 4 of those. Great. You can escape or right click and pick enter, and now you can click on that line there to erase it. You can right click and pick erase or however you'd like it. So those are our like objects. And so now let's put dimensions on them. We need to make the current layer dim text. So drop this list down and click on dim text so that that's current. And if you didn't do that, let me go through that with you for a minute. Let's just say that we forgot and the furniture layer is current. And now I come over here. Yeah, let's go to like the top left and kind of work on this tub. So I forgot to set the layer current. And now I'm going to go up here and drop my list down and pick on linear. I'll click the top left while the top right, pull my mouse up and click. You see it's really small, so we have to change the scale. We'll do that together. And that's usually set up in the template, but it's good practice for you to get to know. If you need to move an object to the right layer, first, when you click on it, you'll see what layer it's on. It's on the furniture layer, but I don't want it on the furniture layer. So I'm going to drop my list down here and click right on the word dim text. Now I'll use my escape key and you'll see that it turns yellow or whatever color that you use. But I still didn't change my layer to be on dim text, like current. So I'll drop this list down and click right on dim text right there to make it current for my next one. Also, I just wanted to point out to you, we talked about this a little bit. The first time that you placed a dimension, you're going to have a new layer called def points. So 0 and def points are set up for specific things. Def points holds little definition points at the end of your extension lines for the dimensions. Just leave that one alone. It won't print, and it's meant to be for your dimensions. And I'm going to talk to you later on about layer 0. Okay, so you can see that the dimension is really small because our object's bigger than a sheet of paper, and so the text and the dimension scale and the line type gets bigger as your drawing gets bigger. So let's go ahead and change the dimensions, type in D and enter, and pick the modify button. We did this with the floor plan. Go to the primary units tab and change the linear dimension unit format to architecture. And then at the bottom, we want to take the check mark out of inches because we don't want to suppress that. We want to see 5 foot 0. But we want to suppress the feet because we only want to see 4 inches. We don't want to see like 0 feet, 4 inches. Okay, let's go to the fit tab. In the fit tab, this is where we change our overall scale. We used 18. We just found a good number because normally we don't dimension these on the floor plan. So this is kind of a different drawing that has individual fixtures that we're dimensioning. So use overall scale of 18. It seems to work as a scale factor. Let's go over to the text tab. And as we did before, text placement vertical, we need to change center to above, and then click in front of aligned with dimension text for the text alignment. I think everything else should be okay. We can always see what it looks like and then come back, right? Pick OK and close, and it looks pretty good. So we can go ahead and continue working with linear to click the midpoint of these two lines for your 4-inch, and then click. Oh, okay. I didn't undo, and I forgot. I did too many undos, right? So mine is still on the furniture layer. I have to select it and drop this list down and click on dim text to put it over to the dim text layer. And then I have to go through and make the dim text layer current. You may have already had that, the dim text layer current, especially if that's the same color as the 5 up there. Now, okay, maybe I want to put the 4 over here. You can click on your dimension and then click inside the little box that's close to the number 4 inches and let go. Not hold your left mouse button, just click and let go. And then drag your mouse over here where you want the text and click. That's how you slide it over. So let's go back to linear and pick up our 2 feet. We could click on the 2 midpoints if we want to, kind of put it right there. And we can right click to repeat dim linear and click the 2 corners here, the top and the bottom of the left wall side of the tub, and then pull your mouse over and click. Now for the radius, we're going to go underneath linear and pick radius right there. And then we're going to click right on this arc circle. And you'll see that there are a couple different ways that you can do this. The way that it's chosen in the drawing is me coming over here and clicking right there. No, that doesn't look right. Because look, it's looking like it's coming way over here. Let me just take a look. Oh yeah, it does. Because by default, because we changed to architectural, this is going all the way across as the radius. Okay, I'm going to introduce something else here where we want our next dimension to have something a little different so that we can have the radius as a leader with the number at the end. You'll see as we move forward. And this is an override for your dimensions. So let's do this together. Type in D and enter. Type in D and enter. And then the whole dimension is going to take on the settings that we established. But if you click on the override button right there, the next dimension that you place will be established with these settings, but still stay in the main dimension style, right? So if you go to the text tab and look at the preview, you see how that radius is just one line and the text is above the line. We did that because we wanted our dimensions to look like that. But maybe we want our radius to look a little different, which we usually do. So if you click in front of horizontal, you see how now the radius text is not aligned with the dimension line, but it's horizontal. And instead of the text placement vertical, let's make that centered again. You see how in the preview, I'm changing the radius so that it's going to have a leader with a little like ledge there and then the number. So pick OK. So we only changed those 2 things, the horizontal and this back to center, and pick OK and close. You see how it says there's a style override and pick close. And now we're ready. If we go up underneath linear and pick radius, we can pick, let's just start with this one, this little arc. Pull your mouse over and click. There it is. You get the radius of 2 and 2 inches. And then if we go back here to the radius that's underneath linear and we click on this arc, you see how it looks a little bit better because it has a little leader that's going to the number, not this. So I'm going to go ahead and pick once on this 2-foot dimension and kind of click on inside one of these blue grips, move it over a little, and now we have our drawing. Now, usually here, when we have more than one, we're going to put TYP for typical inside this text. So let's do that. And another thing that you'll be picking up in this dimension, in this project, you can double click on the text and you see the little blinking cursor right there. We want that on the other side. So use your arrow key to arrow over to the right side. That's where that blinking cursor is. You can put a space. And then with your cap locks on, type in TYP for typical. Then the drawing kind of says that anytime you have a little arc like this, it's going to be 2 inches. There are other ways of noting that, but typical is kind of a good way. Go ahead and click here in space. Sometimes it's going to be typical unless otherwise noted. So UNO, we use that as well. But specifically for this drawing, they'll know that this other one is going to be 2 inches. All right, so that gives us that override. And in order for us to keep going with that, let's find all the other ones that we need to place. Like we can always go back to the override, but if you set the main one current, it'll ask you if you want to create another dimension style or you want to like get rid of this one. So I'll show you that in a minute, but at this point, we already have the override in place and we have some fillets down here. So let's go ahead and click on this fillet and pull your mouse up and click. It's okay if we don't put the typical in that one, but it's up to you if you want to. And then we have a couple of other ones here. Yeah, we're going to go back to radius, click here and pull your mouse out and click. You see that? That kind of like just looks better to me. And this one as well. There. Okay. So we have the main dimension style set up with all the other settings, but we have this override. So now when we type in D and enter, you see how it's still an override? So if I highlight standard, go ahead and highlight standard and pick set current, it's going to give me an alert because it'll get rid of that style override. And we don't want to get rid of it. What we want to do is to save it as its own thing. Save it as like for radius or something. So to save the override, right click on Styles Override, then select an option from the menu. So let's cancel out of this, highlight override, right click and pick rename. If you save it to the current style, it'll just be like you're blending it in with the style. I mean, if you're done with it, it's okay. The ones that you placed won't change, but you won't have it for later on. So if we rename this, you see how it's like a subcategory of the main style? I know we're getting into a little bit more, but you might need this for the architectural, construction drawings. So maybe we just put in here radius. Just so we know that it's called that. And then we're going to click in space, and now look what we have. We have a style called radius that we can use when we're placing those dimensions, right? Because if we use radius for the other ones, then we're going back to the line that's the number that's centered in the dimension and not above. So go back to standard and make sure that you pick set current. It says that it's current, but we want to make sure that the standard is current and pick close. So all of that was to really give you an introduction to creating a dimension style that has kind of a subcategory for specific dimensions, like for the next dimension. But you notice that when we went back to the style, it wants to like just delete it. So if we didn't think we needed it anymore, we could just like go set it current, let it delete or become the standard style. But what we did instead was we right clicked and renamed it so that the next time that we need that, if we needed it again on our drawing, we have another style that we can set current. So when you work on architectural drawings, you usually have several standard styles just based on what you're using the text and the dimensions, what you're using the dimensions for. So we're in the standard style. Let's go ahead and close, and now we can continue with our dimensions. Going back to the tub, I think we have all of that. We're ready to go down here and tackle like dimensioning this. A lot of linear dimensions you guys can do on your own, but I'll just go ahead and do it with you here. The 2'6". The 7 goes from the corner to the center of the circle. Now you have to be careful if you kind of get locked into this vertical, you have to go back and like pull your mouse up within the dimension lines to get that line up here. And then we have from the center of the circle to the center of the circle. Sometimes it's hard to like make it see the center of the circle, so you may have to go over to the edge of the circle and then go back to the center to get it. Now remember, we're lining this up, so go right over to the existing arrow to line it up. All right, we did say that this was a little crowded, so let's put the 2 over here. We're going to click on the right-hand side and put the 2 over there. Then we'll put the 7 down here at the corner and the center of the circle, and then the center of the circle and the center of the circle, and line it up right there. All right, the bottom left corner, the top left, and there's that's your 2'2", and now we have all of those dimensions. Let's go over here to the tub. Same thing, guys. I think at this point you can go ahead and start your linear. Click the 2 endpoints way over and click, right click and repeat to get this 9 in here. We do have one from the top to the bottom there, and we have one from the bottom to like the distance of this ellipse. And then I would like to show you here that in case you didn't have it on, because I think we turned it on, but maybe you're using a different computer, you want to go down to your object snaps again, the one where we picked up the midpoint, and pick up quadrant. Quadrant will help you you can see the little image, click on the top, the bottom, the left, and the right side of your circles and your ellipses. So this will help you to come over here with the linear command and, oops, I think I turned it off. You want to click right on quadrant to make sure there's a check mark in it. And then you can click on the 2 sides and get that 1 foot in there. All right, that one's done. Let's go over here. We've got repeat the linear here and here. Go all the way to the bottom corner, the top of that right there. We've got this here, and just keep on, clicking, keep on clicking, right? To get all of these dimensions in. And I think this is really great practice for you. I think that's it on this one. Let's go up to the sofa. Here, we'll get the dimensions from the top to the bottom left, and the bottom left and the bottom right is 5 foot. Well, we want to give that a little bit more room for this 6-inch that can kind of sneak in here, and it's okay if it's outside of it like that. And I think we don't really need this dimension, but we might as well put it right there, 4 feet. I did click on it and click inside this little grip to slide it over so that it's not, on top of this line. All right, so those are your images that we created. Now, let's say, what if something was really close? Like I want to move this one over a little. What you can do is click in space and pull your mouse across from right to left, only on those things you want to move, and select them. This is the hard part. Don't click inside the blue grip, but just click and hold your left mouse button down on the object, not inside the blue grip. And you can drag and drop that object over a little bit. See that? So let me do that again. I'll move this one over a little, although it doesn't need to be. I want to show you something else. If you click in space and pull your mouse across so all of it's selected, we used our left mouse button, but another option is to hold your right mouse button down anywhere and drag that over and let go. And now you have a dialog box. I can put move here. I can click move here. So here's that again. You click in space and you pull your mouse across everything that you want to move, so it's all selected. You hold your right mouse button down and you drag it over and you let go. See these options? We haven't talked about blocks yet, so don't use that. But look, you can move or copy, and I'm going to move here, right there. So click on that. All right. I think we actually have a title down here. That's right. We have to put assignment to furniture with your name. So I'll do that. Go up to multi-line text. Because we need to change the height. Remember, we're changing the height. I didn't put it in here. Okay, interesting. We need to change the height because we need to make it a little bit bigger. So I'm going to run this by you just to kind of give it to you as an introduction. Because we used a scale factor of 18, that was our set number, right? Everything is increased 18 times the size, just like we did the 48 for the floor plan. So if you take like your plotted text height, let's say you want to plot this at 1/8 of an inch. So if you multiply 1/8 of an inch times 18, you'll know how high the text height should be. Some companies have a whole chart of that. I really should grab one of those and give it to you, but it's based on the scale factor. So whatever the scale factor is, you multiply it by whatever text you want. So if you take 1/8 of an inch, which is like 0.125, and you multiply it times 18, you get 2.25, which is like 2 1/4 inch, 2.25 inches. So let's do that. We'll go up to multi-line text. You see how small it is? You can't even see it, right? And then you click a point first, and then you click on height in the command line. Type in 2.25 and enter. You see now you can see the ABC. I mean, you can make it bigger if you'd like, but you can pull your mouse over and click. It's going to match the text height. That's the thing. With your cap locks on, let's type in assignment 2, furniture, and then your name, and then highlight assignment 2, furniture, right there, and underline it, and click OK, click in space. All right, so there it is. Like, it looks like it might be a little small, so I'm going to show you. You can leave it like that, or I'm going to show you how to change the height once you've already placed it for the text. You can double click on the text and then highlight the whole thing. So drag your mouse across the whole text. At the top left here, it's kind of sensitive to where you have to click on the text and then type in how big you want it. Let's go with 2.5. Just try that out. It got a little bit bigger. I guess it could be okay. Let's click on it again and type in 3. And well, watch out, because you see up there, when I typed in 3, it still kept the rest of it. So it changed it to 3/16, but no, I want to click the delete to get that out, so that only says 3 in there, and then enter. So, a little bit of awkwardness there where we have new commands. We're changing the text height once we place the text. You could make that whatever text height you want, as long as it looks good with the drawing. If you thought it should be a little bit bigger, that's okay too. I'm going to go ahead and click, and there's your drawing. So now we want to print it. Well, I hope you saved it. At least originally, the first time you save it afterwards, you're creating a backup file. So let's print it so we can have a PDF. Click on the print icon. I'm going to go ahead and get out of this one because I think I got all dimensions. I'm checking all of the dimensions. I'm going to maximize my screen. And I see something that's kind of like doesn't look right. This 2 is too close to the dimension. So I'm going to click on it, click inside the little blue grip, and pull it up a little bit and click. See how, like, if you have dimensions that are overlapping each other, you can use the grips to make it look right, for your portfolio. When you show your potential employers this, you want it to look, as clean as you can. So let's go to the plotter icon right here and change your plotter to that ACAD PDF high quality print. Drop this list down of what to plot and pick window. This is where we're going to click and let go and pull your mouse across and create like the box that establishes your paper. Then we're going to put a check mark in center of the plot. We'll just print this one with the check mark and fit to paper. But we do want to change our pen assignments to monochrome at the top right. Pick yes. And make sure you pick apply to layout in preview. When you preview, you really should see that your objects are bold and your dimensions are, lighter. And like I said, if you want to make that text a little bit bigger, you can go in and double click and highlight the whole thing and play around with that a little, maybe make it 3.5 or 4 inches, up to you. You can right click then and plot and put this document in the folder that you want to use. I'll just put it here and then I'll put it somewhere else later. There's your PDF right there. All right, guys, good job.